All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the late night with Coach Eli edition. That's right. I had to find time to do this stream here because I have some more very interesting dating stories I'm going to be sharing with you folks here tonight. And I've got four of them. And the ones during the second part of the show, the third and the fourth story, especially the fourth story, wow, unbelievable. But you're going to learn a lot from these. So you're not going to want to miss a single second of this show, whether you're here live or on the replay. I don't expect a whole lot of people to be here live because it is 6:03 a.m. Eastern Time, 3:03 a.m. Pacific Time here in my neck of the woods, 3:03 a.m. And it is Friday, February 9th, 2024, the day of this live stream. But this is going to have tremendous value, tremendous replay value for days, weeks, months, and years ahead. So don't miss a single part of this show. But before we get to the show, let me first of all make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. I'm checking out the back end of YouTube, and that looks like it's rolling well. And let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. Looks like it has. And let me do a sound check. The fourth story, especially the fourth story. Wow. Unbelievable, but you're going to learn a lot from this. So you're not going to want to miss a single second of this show, whether you're here live. All right. We are all good. And I'm going to get right to it because I'm going to try to keep this show to about an hour and a half. I took a nap earlier with my girlfriend, Dawn. She's still sleeping right now. And I figured this would be a great time to get this show in. And then I have some things to take care of after this. And then I'll probably take a nap during the morning. As an entrepreneur, you got to do what you got to do. You have other responsibilities. You have your significant other that you're responsible for. And she's responsible for me, family, and other stuff. So you just got to do what you got to do sometimes. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get right to it. First of all, before we get to the dating stories, I'm going to switch it over to the browser screen here, and I'm going to share with you something I'm going to probably be discussing over the next day or two. There have been some major YouTube updates from the new CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan, that took over around February or March of last year in 2023, and he's done nothing but great things for this platform since he's come on board. God bless you, Neil Mohan. So let's switch on over to the browser source here. And as you see on your screen there, this is from the YouTube official blog. If you're a creator, you should have been notified regarding this posting on the back end of Studio on the top right if you log in from a laptop. If you're a creator, having the YouTube Studio app is great, but if you want to see more features much more clearly and features that are not available on the app, you should log in from a laptop or desktop every so often or daily like I do, from YouTube Studio on the back end from your laptop, and you'll see links like this. And over the next day or two, I'm going to be doing a brief, probably 1 hour stream here on the Coach Eli, Elias, Melas main channel regarding Neil Mohan's letter from the YouTube CEO, 4 big bets for 2024. It was written on February 6th, 2024. It's a 9-minute read, but I'm going to be dissecting it line by line and giving my feedback on it and translating some things that you folks may not understand. So it'll probably take about an hour, and I'll be more than likely doing that show either tomorrow or sometime on Saturday or Sunday. Sometime between now and the end of the weekend, I will be going over this. If you're a creator or are planning to be a creator, this is going to be an important show you are not going to want to miss. We have 4 people here. Wow, I'm surprised there are even 4 people here this late at night if you're on the West Coast, or this early in the morning if you're on the East Coast. So thank you so much for being here. All right, so the topic of today's show is a 35-year-old woman panics over motherhood plus more dating stories. One more time, a 35-year-old woman panics over motherhood plus more dating stories. Here's how tonight's show is going to go. I'm going to go over the first 2 Reddit stories. And then I'm going to take a brief break. And then I'm going to come back and read 2 stories unlike anything I've seen before. I've talked about these topics many times in the past, but now you're going to start to see people posting about this. So it's not just me running my mouth and sharing how I think things are. There's concrete proof here of people that are actually going through these things, both men and women. Men and women. And in this case, the very last story I'm going to go over is regarding this 35-year-old woman that is married and is panicking over motherhood. Now, I'm going to do this as professionally as possible. I'm hoping that this does not offend or trigger any women out there. This is to, show what's really happening out there and what you can do to avoid feeling like this woman feels and have what you actually want. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and switch on over to the first posting here. This is from the subreddit r/dating. And the original poster's title is, "This is why you should Google your date." One more time, this is why you should Google your date. Now, when I saw this and read this, I'm like, this is exactly what I've always done when using dating apps. Before I met Dawn and in between other relationships when I was on dating apps or dating sites, okay? Before I would ever meet a lady, I would do whatever I can to do my research to learn as much about her so I have an idea of what she's all about, or if I should stay away from her, not waste my time or put myself in any immediate danger. Both men and women need to protect themselves, not just women. I understand women, it's always been the stigma that, yes, women need to protect themselves from scary men. But hey, there are scary women out there that men need to be protected from. And doing what this posting states here can prevent most, if not all, heartaches or something worse from happening. So let's go ahead and read what the poster wrote. Giving advice. All right. This is why you should Google your date. My friend met a guy in a bar. They flirted all night and made out. He said he'd love to take her out and give her his number. They texted constantly for the next few days and went on a date the following weekend when they hooked up. So I guess they hooked up and got together. Maybe they had sex. Maybe they had some fun, right? Now here it says she felt weird. I think she added the word he by mistake. So I'll just say she felt weird because he said he had no social media. That's BS. Usually. Now, there are some people out there that aren't on social media, but it is very, very rare. And it is a big red flag if you can't search anyone on the internet nowadays. And hadn't given his last name, so she Googled his phone number. Yeah, if this guy truly wanted to protect his identity, he should have gotten a Google Voice number. Those numbers are not searchable, but this is something you folks should all know. Your actual main phone number that comes from your carrier has your first name, your last name, and has, you can run a background check with someone's actual cell phone number, unless they've taken action to, protect their number, but most people haven't done that. So she Googled his phone number. She found his company website and searched them on Company's House. Okay, I don't know what that is. Is that like a website for businesses? I don't know. But she found out where this guy works. He was a director of a business alongside a number of women with the same date of birth year. Now, having his full name, she found him on Facebook. His photos showed he just got married a month before. Wow. Anyway, stay safe and smart out there. This is going to be a quick one here. Yeah. What I'm going to say is this guy, if this is true, which I don't see why it wouldn't be true. Why would someone take the time to write about something that isn't true? This man is a big player. This man, if he just got married, he should be happily married. Being married just 1 month and already stepping out on your wife. First of all, that should never happen, but we know it does happen down the road. But typically after 1 month, you're already stepping out on your wife. And were you even doing that before you got married? And is it because this guy's traveling and can easily get away with it? And did this guy not realize that with his actual cell phone number, people can search him on Google or do a background check and find out everything about him? And if he's actually on social media with his wife there, this woman can reach out to his wife and make his wife aware of his actions outside of the marriage. First of all, to me, this comes off like a very selfish and narcissistic man that probably got married for the wrong reasons. I don't know if he has children with this woman, if they had kids before they got married, or if he got married for tax purposes, shared cell phone plans, and other benefits like that. But this is just way too quick, in my opinion, for somebody to even consider cheating on their significant other after being only married for 1 month. Wow, that is just, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what should you do in this case, right? Whenever you're talking with somebody on online dating, okay, this is my process. I'm going to share it very briefly here once again, okay? You want to send a bunch of messages to profiles that you feel are in alignment with what you're seeking and what you're physically attracted to, right? And, whether you're a man or a woman, once you get responses from people that you're interested in, of course, you're going to filter it down to 2 or 3 and then eventually one that you're really super interested in. Once you narrow it down to that one that you're super interested in and they're super interested in you, at that point, send a few messages back and forth that same day. Okay. And then, you want to take it to the phone. But before taking it to the phone, okay, get the phone number. You want to get the phone number and not talk through the app. A lot of women and some men want to keep it all on the app through the built-in phone app or the video chat. And they do that because they want to remain anonymous. So you can't look them up to see if they're sane or not, right? And some people may question me and say, Eli, people want to protect their privacy and this and that. I understand that. But when it comes to dating, if you're looking to find someone to date, you should have an idea about who they are as best as possible before you decide to meet with them for your safety purposes. And this goes for both men and women. So what I used to say is, look, if a woman was adamant about not giving me her number or trading numbers, right? And she would say, let's talk through the app. I would just say, I would do it in a way where she wouldn't think that I was some psycho, because I'm not. I just want to make sure she's the right one so I don't waste my time, or she's not somebody that would hurt me. You never know. Some women could be psycho just like men and carry knives, carry guns, and hurt you. So you got to be sure, right? So I would say, I've tried talking to the app before, and the built-in phone app and video chat doesn't work for me. It glitches out, and I want to make sure that we don't get cut off, so we can really get to know each other. So if you don't mind, let's exchange numbers, and I'll text you to arrange a call, maybe for later tonight or tomorrow, right? And if they give you the number, that's great. If they don't, at that point, you just move on, right? Now, there are women that will give you their real phone number, and then there are men and women that will give you their real phone number, which comes with your cell phone carrier, which is searchable, and you can run a background check on that. And then there are men and women that will give you a Google Voice number that is completely anonymous. For me, anytime that I would get someone that was leery about allowing me to look into them to make sure that they're safe to meet and that they're a normal person, if I couldn't find any information on them on the internet to do my research through a background check or through Google, then I just wouldn't go on a date with them. And that's not me, being a stalker. There's nothing wrong with running a background check on anyone or looking into anyone as long as you don't misuse that information, right? It's for your own safety in the comfort of your own home, and you're looking to decide if this person is safe to be around and they're really who they say they are, right? So if you get the real number, okay, what you want to do, whether you're a man or a woman, is Google search the number. If you can't find anything, then you can run a background check. There are some background checks you can purchase cheaply. I've got a background service that I pay $10 per month for unlimited access. So I can type in the number and do my research on this person and make sure they're a safe person to be around. And I suggest you folks do that. If you run a background check and everything looks good, then, text them after that and arrange a phone call, hopefully for that night or by the next night. And then, talk and see if you click by voice and you have similar interests to the point of where you feel comfortable meeting in person. And if you're going to meet in person, you want to meet in person within the next few days after you talk on the phone. You've got to go boom, 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 because if not, you're going to get lost in the shuffle with all the other people in the queue that people that use dating apps have, whether you're a man or a woman. And if you're a man, you got to be more on the ball because women get 10 to 20 times more responses than you guys do. So it's more important even for men to filter through this process as quickly as possible, right? Now, if you can't find anything on the man or the woman, I just wouldn't meet up with them because then they're giving you wrong information or they're giving you a secondary number because they're trying to conceal something. And if you get the feeling like somebody's trying to conceal something, they more than likely are. And I would just move on to somebody else. That's going to make it easier for you to research who they are and is not offended by you researching who they are. People that get offended by you researching who they are trying to hide something that they know will get them eliminated. So there you go, right? All right. Let's see here. Let me read a few comments here, and then we'll get to the next one here. We are at 18 minutes. I Googled myself and found absolutely nothing. Well, then you're not active on the internet. If you have a Facebook profile, a LinkedIn profile, if you have an Instagram, if you're on YouTube, if you're anyone who's anyone in the modern world, or Twitter, which is now known as X, you're going to have at least one or two of these social media sites. And if you're not on social media, then honestly, you have not adapted to the modern world, and you are probably someone that is heavily guarded and very leery about sharing any information about yourself. I understand to a certain extent we have to protect our identities, but if you protect yourself 100% too much, then you don't leave yourself vulnerable enough to allow anyone to come into your life, let alone someone you want to meet for a potential relationship. Okay. Let's see. 2019 says, unfortunately, mine has my address and divorce decree. I don't want strangers to know where I live. Well, it's not about knowing where you live. Here's the thing. Eventually, if you get to know this person and you start dating them, they're going to know where you live, right? And if people really want to find out where you live nowadays, they can find it very easily, okay? Look for the information to make sure the person is safe to meet up with and see if something can come out of it. But don't abuse that information. And guys and gals, don't be creepy stalkers. If you go on a date with someone and you found out their address, don't go and be a stalker. You're going to get yourself, possibly arrested and maybe even worse. So just don't do that. Look for the information to make a better decision if the person is worthy enough or trustworthy enough to meet. Okay. Diphonized Fetus says, what a weird Reddit name. My phone number shows I'm a 60-year-old man, but that's because I'm still on my parents' phone plan, and I went through and removed myself from those sites years ago. LOL. Yeah, those background checks are not 100% accurate because people make changes. Like this person said, sometimes you're on a shared cell phone plan, and a lot of background checks are tied into your actual cell phone number. And in other cases, if there are other people on the same account, it might link you to the other people on that account. In this case, is parents. So, you got to take that into consideration if if you have enough information to look into someone to see if they're safe enough to meet with. Ginger B says, my phone number that I've had for well over 15 years still shows up as belonging to someone by the name of David and lives in a very different place than me. Well, yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it probably shows that he once had that number, but it probably also shows that you're the current owner of that number. So, if you've had a phone number for a couple of years, or even maybe less than 15 years. Like I've had my phone number since, when was it? I've had my phone number since, it's been about 25 years that I've had it. Since, maybe even longer than that, maybe like over 25 years. So I don't think anyone else ever had my phone number. But if you've had your phone number for 15 years or less, there's a possibility, especially if you've changed your number. Many people will change their numbers, and it could be tied into multiple people. When you run a background check, you're gonna have multiple hits, so you got to take that into consideration. Plus, the way you can find out if there are multiple people sharing one number because the other people had the number in the past is by looking at the picture on the dating site and the name of the dating site, the first name, and comparing it to the first name of a background check with that number. So there you go. I Googled myself years ago and discovered that someone with my exact name was a state representative somewhere. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, like Google searches are not completely accurate. They can be if you have the phone number, but not always. That's why running an actual background check where you can do it by phone number or email, right, or first and last name, that's going to be your best chance of finding out who this person is and looking into them to see if they're safe to meet up with. Again, don't misuse this information. You have the right to look into anyone at any time. What you don't have the right to do is misuse that information, like publicly blast it on YouTube, right? Or show up at their place unannounced and stalk them. If you're using the information to educate yourself more on whether it's safe to meet up with them on a date or not, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And anyone that criticizes me regarding that at this point, like many people have in the past, you can just go suck an egg. There you go. One more, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Mistress Jadana says, there's a porn star with my name. I'm going to give you a big round of applause for that. Big round of applause. Now that's fantastic. I got to get a good kick out of that. So, woman, Mistress Jadana, there's a porn star with my name. I've asked my adult children to not Google looking for information on me. Well, that's a pretty good idea. Well, see, the problem is when you tell children not to do something, they'll do something. So I would have just not said anything. And if they find you, they find you. And they say, oh, Mom, are you a porn star? No, that's just, the background check has that wrong. Unless you really are and you're trying to hide it, who knows? But it's, I get it. Haha, nice. So it's your real name and not your username on here? Yeah, my real name. I'm not sharing it. LOL. Huh, okay. Okay. I understand. Some people don't want to share their real name on social media. If you want to do something like I do, you have to share your real name and show your face. But I get people that just want to participate and comment and stuff with no fear of being trolled or harassed, or have no repercussion. I get it. You want to remain, somewhat anonymous or completely anonymous. I get that. All right. Let's go to the next one here. We are at 25 minutes. We've got 9 people here. Thank you so much for being here. All right. This next posting is from the subreddit dating_advice. And the original poster's title, which was miswritten, why am I still alone by 25? I think he meant to say at 25, so let's go with that. Why am I still alone at 25? I, 25 male, never had a girlfriend in whole life. Wow, man. I had my first girlfriend at age 16. And I don't know why it didn't work for me. Well, let's read and I'll share my thoughts afterwards because he pretty much says it. I think I'm going to die alone. That's not true, dude. You can't think negative like that. Okay? You're probably not showing up being the best version of yourself you could possibly be. And you can change that. You can change that. I tried everything, dating apps, real life, etc., but they didn't work for me. Okay? Is it because I am fat? Yes. I'm sorry to say so. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there that will date anyone, regardless of their age or their weight or whatever, right? But I'm sure the women that you wanted, the attractive women that you wanted, don't want to date an overweight man. Now, if you're a little overweight, 10, 20, 30 pounds, most women are okay with that. Most women nowadays have 10, 20, 30 pounds of extra junk in their trunk, and that's become normal. It's still somewhat healthy, and it actually makes a man and a woman look a little bit more healthier, right, than being super skinny, right? But if you're like 50, 100 or more pounds overweight, yes, that is going to completely affect your dating life. It's also going to affect your health, okay? Or is it because I am still a student at a university? It has nothing to do with you being a student. It has to do with you not taking care of yourself. That's the bottom line. And being out of shape. You didn't mention how overweight you are, but I'm assuming you're 50 to 100 pounds or greater overweight. I don't know what to do. Go on a diet, lose some weight. Start eating healthier. Lose the weight. You can lose. If you're 100 pounds overweight, you could probably lose it safely in about a year's time if you discipline yourself. Okay? Then buy some nice clothes, some nice, fitted clothes. Wear deodorant, wear cologne. Okay? Groom your hair, go get a nice hairstylist. Well, that's for women, go get your hair cut at a barbershop. If you have a beard, get it trimmed and teach yourself how to trim your beard. Like, I'm 50 years old and I take care of myself. I don't even go to the barber. I shave I started losing my hair at 25. So I started shaving my head. I shave it bald. I even still shampoo my head. It's nice and smooth. I have a nicely trimmed beard. I trim myself. And I even use Just for Men to cover the gray because it makes me feel good. It makes me look and feel younger. And I feel good about myself. You don't feel good about yourself, dude. That's another thing. Okay? It's obvious, right? So yeah, that is that. I am very desperate and I just sick of my loneliness. I think you meant to say, I am just sick of my loneliness. Now, give me a second, folks. I will be right back. I got to take care of something with my girlfriend, Dawn, real quick. I'll be right back, and we'll continue here in just a couple of minutes. We're back. We are back. We are just going to stretch it and get right back down to business. Sorry about that. Dawn woke up and she needed my help with something real quick. She's still dealing with a broken ankle. I mean, she can walk, but, we're trying to minimize her walking until it heals more and gets stronger. So, when she wakes up and she calls me for something, I'll take care of her real quick and then come right back to the show. So anyway. Let's go back to the browser screen here. And so before we take our first actual break here, I'm going to go through a few comments here, but I'm going to say once again, to be 25 years old and to have never been able to get a date. There are people that are even very overweight that get plenty of dates. And I think the reason why this guy here hasn't had one date isn't just because of him being overweight. It's because of how he's showing up, his personality. He's coming off very depressed. He says, I'm very desperate and I'm just sick of my loneliness. Well, dude, that's very unattractive to women, right? The most unattractive aspects of a man to a woman is when a man comes off weak, needy, desperate, or insecure. Weak, needy, desperate, and insecure. And you embody all of that. And I'm sure, there are women that feel sorry for you and they like who you are. They don't think you're a threat and they think you're a nice guy. But dude, what do you have to offer them? You're out of shape. You're probably very unattractive. Maybe you don't dress that well either. And, your attitude about yourself, you don't love yourself. You don't embody self-love. You really got to work on yourself. So that's that. Let's read a few comments here. 114 comments. We're going to go through about 4 or 5 of them before we take our first break. Prince Joe 123. Well, yeah, it is most likely the things you mentioned. Well, before we do that, let me do another sound check real quick. Sorry about that. I want to make sure we're rolling okay. Body, all of that. And I'm sure, there are women that feel sorry. Okay. We're good. So, well, yeah, it is most likely the things you mentioned. Fat, not earning money. Yeah, if you don't have a good job, if you're not focused on your purpose, if you don't love what you do and are purpose-driven, that's unattractive to women as well. Advice is to hit the gym and be very strict with your diet. Zero junk food. Also, graduate and find ways to increase your salary as you approach 30. Yeah, you lose the weight, you get better clothing, you shave, shower, you use deodorant, you use cologne, you learn to love yourself in a non-selfish way. You learn to love who you are, but don't show off who you are. Just be yourself. Be cool, calm, and collected, right? And then you still won't get all women. You'll still get rejected a lot. Even guys that are in the perfect shape and have everything going for them get rejected. But you will eventually find someone, if you get into better shape, you dress better, you have a better job that pays more money and that is focused on your purpose. Women can sense if you're happy or not. Women are very, instinctual and have great intuition. Most men don't. I, fortunately, am one of the few men that has great intuition and instinct at the level of a woman. But most men are not like that. There are, a handful amount of men out there that, are able to, have intuition and instinct at the level of a woman. And that's why we become coaches, to help you guys that are not fortunate enough to, be able to pick up on these things. So we want to help you guys. Reeking of loneliness and desperation doesn't help. Yeah, reeking of loneliness and desperation doesn't help. Yeah, that turns off women immediately, right? Being fat isn't doing them any favors either. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it sounds harsh, but we're not trying to be harsh. We're stating the facts. You can't sit there and say, oh, she doesn't like me because I'm fat. That's a very superficial person. Well, maybe so, but honestly, who wants to be with someone very fat or overweight? Now, I understand some people accept it and are truly okay with it, but even if you're truly okay with it from a health standpoint, it's just not healthy to be extremely overweight. It's probably the biggest issue. Yeah. Physical attraction, it'll get you in the door, but it still won't get you completely there. Okay? You still need to know how to talk to the woman, dress nice, smell nice, right? Have some swag. But if you aren't attractive physically, you won't even have any chance at all. Excuse me. Lots of fat people still find love even while fat. Yes, I said that. It does happen. But the people that are very overweight, that are able to get people, dress nice, smell nice, and have a great personality and love who they are. That's why they're able to get, some dates with people that accept people at that weight. But this guy is overweight. He lacks purpose, and he doesn't love himself. And he comes off weak, needy, desperate, and insecure. Yeah. Dark Fight 13. IK is that I know, but it doesn't make it easier for him. Also, got a note, original poster in the age group where there's a lot less fat people, so less people settling on their physical standards. Yeah, when you're younger, it's easier to be in good shape. So you're 25 years old, and if the majority of the people around that age, excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. If the majority of the people around that age are in reasonably decent shape. Come on, man. You know, if you want somebody that's attractive and healthy and has their shit together, you got to show up with the same. That dummy Mia states in the comment section, definitely not the biggest issue though. No decent person would turn a good relationship option away because of their weight unless it's an extreme health issue or the person isn't weary of their health. Well, some people are very superficial when it comes to weight. Some people are okay with dating overweight people, but you know, if you're overweight and you lack self-love and you're depressed and you're weak, you're needy, you're desperate, you're insecure, especially as a man, you're not going to get any woman. That's why this guy has no woman. Peter the Rabbit 1 says the initial attraction must be there before a relationship can get started. Him being fat will scare off a great majority of women who'd otherwise give him a chance. Right. I mean, I hate to say it. And it sounds superficial, but it's the truth. Do you want the truth or do you want us to sugarcoat it to spare your feelings? You're not going to get anywhere if people are sugarcoating you what you want to hear, right? Maybe your family say, hey, keep putting yourself out there. The right one will come around. Not in the way this guy's showing up. He will never get a single date. Being overweight, lacking self-love, being a weak, needy, desperate, and insecure man that lacks a purpose, probably doesn't have a decent job. Like, what's there to be attracted to regarding him? No one's saying he's a bad guy. He's probably, he probably wants to be a really good guy, but he's not exuding any of that. So the women are saying, well, there's nothing here. I'm not attracted to anything about this person. He's just there. Polarix says, understandable, but how can one be not lonely and desperate if they never in their life experience mutual attraction? Well, yeah, he is gonna be feeling lonely and maybe feeling desperate, but he can't come off that way because if women sniff that, they will never give him a chance. Even if he gets into the perfect shape and he comes off lonely and desperate, women still will turn him down. How can one not be envious if other people are dating, heck, even having sex in their early teens? Well, that's because the people that are having sex, in their teenage years or their 20s and stuff, it's because they're attractive physically, they have great personalities, they're easy to get along with, right? They're attractive overall. And it's not just physical attractiveness, it is mental and emotional attractiveness. Mental stimulation and the emotional bond's important too. This guy is emotionally unaware and his mental state about himself isn't that great. Septar She 656 says, by knowing those people, I know some people who are in relationships and yet their life is just hell. That's because they're with the wrong person. They settled for the wrong person. But even the people that are in relationships that aren't working initially attracted each other. This guy can't even attract one woman because of the way he's showing up or not showing up. Dude, if you feel lonely, don't look for a GF. Also, work on yourself harder in order to increase dating pool. Mental health is most crucial of all things. Yeah, this guy's mental health, the way he sees himself, he doesn't love himself. It's when you don't have any self-love or self-respect, it comes off and it instantly repels people, especially if you want to date a woman. Even if you're the hottest guy in the world, it'll repel most women if you lack self-love, right? And you're not, emotionally aware. Let's see here. Two more. Also, realizing that rejection isn't the end of the world. also helps. With every single rejection, you grow stronger, become aware of your errors. But all I'm saying is that before someone should date, they need to fix their inner problems like mental health, because if it's not addressed, it can lead to a shitty relationship or being with someone who isn't worthy of us or being fine with being used by someone else. This guy would settle for any woman that would give him the time of day. The worst woman could agree to go on a date with him. She could be more overweight than him, have a crappier personality than him, and he would settle for her, not realizing that that would be putting him in a much worse spot than just being single, and working on himself to better himself, health-wise, by getting in better shape at a more healthy weight level and working on loving himself more. That dummy Mia, once again, that's not what they're saying. They're saying to try to seek ways to feel less lonely outside of relying on a girlfriend to solve his issues. Right. You got to focus on yourself. You got to work out your issues and find, self-love deep within before you can even start to try to fix things. You got to realize that, hey, I'm not happy with the way I am. I want to be happy. This is what I need to do to turn things around. I'm going to look at myself in the mirror. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to buy better clothing. I'm going to start to trim my beard. I'm going to start to groom my hair better. I'm going to start to wear deodorant and cologne, right? I'm going to strive to get a better job, one that aligns with my purpose. And then everything will fall into place without you even trying. And he's trying way too hard, which also turns off women. Working on friendships, building a better support network, getting closer to others in general, and working out other mental health issues like low self-esteem and such would help him not feel lonely. That's true. Cynthia, good morning. Welcome. I got to get you moderated over here too. I'll do that soon. It's 8 people in the box. Thank you so much for being here. Then when he does seek a romantic relationship again, he won't be relying entirely on a girlfriend to help that loneliness feeling, which likely stems from much more than just not having a partner. Well, he doesn't love what he sees in the mirror. He doesn't love himself. Before anyone else can love you and want to be with you, you have to love what you see in the mirror, and you have to love how you feel about yourself deep within. So you have to love yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. You need to be emotionally aware and stable and sound. That's it. Okay. Well, here we go. One more thing. I'm going to read this before I take my first break. Palouse Sunset states, it's cliche, but you've got to love yourself first. One more time. I'm going to repeat the most important comment yet. It's cliche, but you've got to love yourself first. Big round of applause. I keep saying that time and time and time again. And many people out here on YouTube have criticized me for saying you got to learn to love yourself. You don't have self-love. A lot of trolls don't have self-love. A lot of men out here on YouTube that attack other men don't have self-love. This is the biggest problem here. You solve this and everything else, I promise you, will fall into place. Because if you learn to have self-love for yourself, you're not going to allow yourself to remain fat. You're going to find a way to lose the weight. You're going to find a way to dress better, smell better. You're going to find a way to speak better and carry yourself better. It will all fall into place once you start loving yourself deep within. I'm approaching 30. My longest relationship is 6 months, but I've gotten to a point that doesn't bother me. I'd rather be alone than settle for someone who can't fully accept me. Couldn't have said it better myself. Those are words to live by. Never settle for someone just to be with someone. You settle for someone that you're compatible with and that loves you as much as you love them. That's it. That's all. With that being said, let's go back to full screen and cue up some royalty-free YouTube music. We're at 49 minutes. We're going to come back for the best 2 postings I've done in a while, or probably ever. You're not going to want to miss this. But let me go ahead and cue up that royalty-free YouTube music. Yeah. Let's see here. My girlfriend Dawn loves when I do that. Oh, I want to get fired up tonight, so I know when I'm coming back from the break with. All right, music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for a quick break, probably a 7 or 8 minute break. I want to check in with Dawn. She's still awake right now before she goes back to sleep. And then we'll get back to these two most interesting Reddit posts I've ever dissected. So stick around. Round. We'll be right We're back. About to hit the most favorite song, my most favorite song on the YouTube audio library. Ethan Mixel, Double Helix. Hit it, Ethan, hit it. Almost didn't make it back in time. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, rip it, Ethan. Rip it, baby. Rip it. Yeah, let's get that energy up. Energy up. Energy up. Energy up. Energy up. Energy up. Energy up, everybody. Yeah. Settle down, coach. You got a show to run. Settle down, coach. Settle down. Ethan Mixel, Double Helix from the YouTube audio library. All right, let's get back down to business. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Live here on YouTube, live on the main channel, Coach Eli, Elias, Melas. Glad you could all join us tonight. Got a great show so far. If you missed the first part of the show, I shared a couple of great Reddit dating stories. Go back and check out the replay once it's done. And we've got two amazing stories, probably two of the most amazing stories I'm going to be going over during the second part of this show. So stick around for that. But before we get to that, just a quick reminder that the channels I run out here on YouTube are primarily funded through crowdfunding and your donations. If you feel it in your heart and soul that you're getting value, please consider making a donation in any amount based on the value you feel you're receiving. You can do so in one of many ways. You can hit the super chat or super sticker at the bottom of the chat, or you can donate via Cash App or PayPal. On PayPal, you can go to paypal.me/Coach Eli, and on Cash App, you can go to $the real Coach Eli. And as always, donations are greatly appreciated, but they are not required. Sammy, I see you here in the chat. I'll get to you in just a second. But first, let's let Ethan bring us back into the second half of the show. Yeah, rip it, baby. Rip it. Rip it. Rip it, baby. Rip it. Wow. Whew. Yeah. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Let me make sure the audio is running properly. All right, we're rolling well. Before we get to the next Reddit story here, Sammy, welcome to the show. Good morning to you. Good morning on my way to work. It's been a while. Hope everyone's good. Are you the same Sammy that used to be here, part of the former group? If that's you or whoever you are, thank you so much for being here. Sammy says, hey, what's new, dude? Cranking out tunes early. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the YouTube audio library. I used to run a show on a former channel I used to run out here on YouTube years ago, around 5-6 years ago. That's no longer available, obviously. But I used to run a show called Coach Eli Live, and that was my theme song. And everybody that has known about me since that time, they love that song. That's probably one of the best songs in the entire YouTube audio library. But thank you for being here, Sammy, and drive safe on the way to work. Hopefully you're listening in with the Bluetooth attached, or Apple CarPlay, or Android Auto. We've got many options nowadays to listen to these live shows very safely. All right, let's go ahead and get back. Actually, the topic of the show, once again, is a 35-year-old woman panics over motherhood plus more dating stories. One more time, a 35-year-old woman panics over motherhood plus more dating stories. These two stories I'm going to go over are probably two of the best ones I will ever probably do, or at least have done so far. So let's switch on over back to the browser source. Nasty Jester. It's 5 a.m. Ha 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 ha. Well, it's 4:07 a.m. here You're probably on Mountain Time. It's 4:07 a.m. here on the West Coast, the San Francisco Bay Area, and 7:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Welcome back, Nasty Jester. Great to see you here. 11 people here. Thank you so much. All right. So, this is from the subreddit r/relationships advice. And the original poster states in their title, my 32-year-old female partner, male 35 of 4 years, won't marry me until we are equal. So basically, it's a woman saying, she's 32 years old, and she's saying, my partner, who's a 35-year-old man of 4 years, won't marry me until we are equals. Oh, man. Millennials here, right? Millennial love. Remember the song Computer Love by Roger and Zapp, right? Computer love, millennial love, shooby-doo-wop, doo-wop, I want to love you, shooby-doo-wop, millennial love. Millennial love is probably the most interesting type of love in the history of our planet. I've just never seen relationships be handled in the ways starting with the millennial generation. The millennial men are some of the most confused men on the planet regarding, how they run relationships or how they feel relationships should be run. And when we go over this here, you're going to see what this woman says, right? Let's get to it, all right? My partner says he doesn't want to get married until we are equally contributing financially to our household. So you basically want your woman to make exactly the same amount of money as you do before you decide to commit. You wouldn't be happy if your woman was making 25 or 30% of the income, and you make 70 to 75% of it, which is masculine energy. Men have always been known before women were liberated as the providers. So in essence, you don't want to be looked upon as a man or the head of household or the provider. You basically want the woman to completely contribute equally to everything, which, look, it wouldn't, if your woman was making, exactly what you were making and you're contributing equally, that's not a problem. But it's also not a problem if you're making a little bit more than her and she's making a little bit less. What are you worried about? Are you worried about going through divorce and her taking half of your money? And if she makes exactly half of the income, if you get divorced, neither one of you will lose anything? Like, what are you trying to do here, right? What is this guy trying to do, right? He's making it more about money than the love for his woman. When a man has love for a woman, it's not about money, it's about love. And both together will find a way to make ends meet. This includes waiting to have kids until I am established in a dependable career. I completely understand his logic. He's worked hard to get to where he is today and has a nice nest egg. And he's scared of marrying you divorcing him down the road, and him getting half of what he's earned. And honestly, if he has that attitude, he might as well just not date. He might as well just break up with you and be single and lonely, or just hook up with women randomly for some fun every now and then, because this guy is not embodying masculine energy, and it sounds like he's very controlling, and he's just very, very scared to commit. He fears commitment. For perspective, he is very financially comfortable, but not wealthy enough to buy a spacious home without a second income helping to pay the mortgage. Well, then that's on him, right? After developing health issues from having COVID, my career fell apart. Since then, I have been a student finishing up an online BS to then do a master's with a clear path to a career. I am about 5 to 6 years from beginning to be financially stable again. Nothing wrong with that. You are in progress, and you can work other jobs in the meantime. That'll make you good money. You could probably end up providing 25 to 35% of the income. But if he's expecting you to provide half the income, or he's not going to marry you, that's pretty messed up, man. That's putting a lot of stipulations on love. It doesn't, the financial stuff doesn't have to be exactly equal. And it's not like you're not trying to get a job or contribute. You're doing the best you can. But this guy's really set in his ways. If you don't make exactly half of what I make, or at least half of what I make, then we're not moving forward because I've got too much to lose. And it would be a bad bet, right? Come on, dude. Do you love your woman or not? You've been with her for 4 years, man. For Christ's sake. My parents help me financially currently, so I am not dependent on him and help with expenses 50-50. If you've been together with him for 4 years, I hope you're living with him. And why would you not be dependent on him? You should be testing him to see if he's a good provider and a good man for you at this point. Though sometimes he will say he is supporting me because he pays for gas when we travel and offers to get meals out more often than not. We have been living together for most of our relationship and are fully committed in all ways, save for marriage. So you've been living with this guy for almost 4 years, and he's putting all of these stipulations on you? I would never do that, man. If I was with a woman for 4 years, it's because she loves me and I love her. And I wouldn't be worried about a woman, leaving me and taking, half my money, right? And you know what? If he can't afford between what you're bringing in now and what he's bringing in, if he can't afford a spacious house, why not buy a starter house? And then you can sell that house when you're both ready to buy a more spacious house, right? And that house will probably go up in value. And you can take the equity and put a bigger down payment down on a bigger house when you have the resources to do so. Why is he not talking with you about that? But he's saying, you got to make, I'm not going to move forward with you in marriage and having kids until you provide half the income. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Sammy says, I watched you on a few walks, but that's about it. Also, I am on a train. I work at the airport so I can relax before work. Oh, cool. Awesome. Enjoy your train ride, Sammy. Thank you again for being here. Sammy says, hi, Cynthia. Good to see you. Cool. All right. I am hurt by his refusal to marry me. I agree. You should be. You've been together for 4 years. He's wasting your time. You want to have a family and, you want to move things forward, and he's making excuses. He's making excuses, right? I get that our financial situations aren't equal, but I have experienced more trauma and major losses, setbacks than he has. Most women have. And even some men have. So if he can't learn to deal with the trauma, everybody has trauma and everyone has issues. If he can't learn to deal with yours and accept you for who you are, then you should leave him. Stop wasting your time. I would call him out. You're letting this guy dictate the relationship, which to a certain extent, I understand, the man, wants to be the man. But I think this guy is being more arrogant than being, dominant in a loving way. He's being way more arrogant and selfish. I've been extremely transparent about this from the beginning. And if it hasn't changed in 4 years, why are you still with him? Honestly, it's time to give him an ultimatum and say, look, dude, I want to move things forward. I am doing the best I can to get things on track for our future. Maybe we buy a starter house for now and live our life. And, once I start to bring in more money, we can take the equity from the starter house that we buy and put a big down payment and buy a bigger house at that point. I just think this guy is, happy living with you without the commitment. He's trying to keep you around without the commitment, right? I don't know. He sees it as me needing to catch up to him before he will commit legally to me. You see, he mentions the words legally. He's afraid of you leaving him after 10 years and taking half of the marital assets, which will be more so primarily earned by him if you don't make half the income. This is a really shitty way for a guy to look at this, especially with a woman he's been with for 4 years. Dude, if you're not willing to take a risk on a woman you've been with for 4 years that really is into you and wants to have a life and a family with you, dude, then you got major issues, dude. This is the problem with these millennial men. They care more about protecting their money than loving their partner, right? You guys fear getting divorce raped, and not all women are like that. You've got a good woman here, dude, and you're going to ruin this. And you probably will have a very difficult time finding another good woman like this. Plus, you'll have to start over. You've been with her for 4 years, for Christ's sake. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. But doesn't understand how hurtful that is for a woman in her 30s interested in starting a family, let alone someone with a history of major trauma. Right. Well, ma'am, you've had trauma, but it seems like you've worked through it, and you're working through it, and you're being mature and responsible about it. You're being very mature, reasonable, and responsible. He's being very immature, selfish, and irresponsible. He doesn't care about your feelings. This is time to give him the ultimatum, or you walk. We are already playing house and sharing in chores, offering equal emotional support to each other. That's great. That's the way it should be. It's just that I only have a small savings and am currently reliant on a small allowance from my parents to make it easier to be in school full time. If I was in this situation, I would be supporting my woman and her going through college. And I wouldn't have a problem getting married now. And you can even have children while going to college, right? And if you both are in your 30s and you want to have kids, that biological clock is going to tick. That's another thing that you're taking away from this woman. P.S. I am beyond thankful for their support. That's cool. It's nice that you have good parents that are willing to help you, get on the right track. That is awesome. And this guy should feel the same way about it. I feel constant stress and scarcity, whereas he feels total freedom and control. Well, he's controlling you, man. He's controlling you, and he's basically not allowing you to be yourself, and he's not accepting any of your goals, dreams, and aspirations. I've been with Dawn for 2.5 years, and, her and I, we share things equally. We talk things out. I ask her what she enjoys and what truly makes her happy. She asks me what I enjoy and what truly makes me happy. Dawn and I, we talk constantly, and we strive to make each other happy by asking each other, about things, and by listening to each other and supporting each other. This guy seems like he's very selfish and immature and insecure. I don't see this working out. I really don't. If I was this woman, I would walk. This guy is going to eventually probably leave her. That's what's going to happen. And she'll be more hurt and feel like she wasted more of her time, and it'll probably trigger her past trauma. And it's not fair for her. This guy, this is the problem with men like this, especially the millennial men, that, just don't know how to handle relationships nowadays. It's not fair for him to put her through this. Okay? He doesn't owe me anything or need to fix the wrongs others did against me in the past. He's been with you for 4 years. If he loves you, he'd be willing to do anything. I've been with Dawn for 2.5 years. And over the last 2 to 3 years, she's had some of the most major medical issues that have come across. And I support her. I stand by her side. I take her to her appointments. And I prioritize her because I love her and I accept her for who she is. And there's no one that has a bigger heart and soul than Dawn. Okay? And she does her part to contribute. Yes, I do contribute more in the financial aspect and other things, but she does contribute where she can. And she's working on fixing things so she can contribute more. But that doesn't mean I love her any less. That doesn't mean I give her an ultimatum. I still love her. I love her for who she is. You should not let money get in the way of love. This is ridiculous here. This dude is just pathetic, in my opinion. No one owes anyone anything, but if he really loves you, why would he not want to do whatever it takes to make you happy? Why wouldn't he take your feelings, thoughts, and needs into consideration, not just his? Why would he be scared, about the legality of marriage and losing money? That's not the right way to go into something. Might as well sign a prenup then. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy made you sign a prenup. But shouldn't a loving partner want to embrace the one they love as they are rather than hold it against me? Yeah, I just said the same thing in different words. I'm going to give you a big round of applause for that, man. You understand this. Big round of applause. Yeah. I've had my fair share about discussing things that I feel women have done wrong to men. But when men do women wrong, I will call men out in the same ways I call women out. Okay? In this case, this dude is completely wrong. You are absolutely right, man. And I feel for you. I really do. Okay? It is confusing to me because I can totally see the logic of his stance. Well, when it comes to women, there's no amount of logic or reasoning that's going to, get through to a woman when it comes to what a woman wants and needs. It's more about the emotional bond, the mental stimulation, the future family, and this and that, right? If this guy is trying to use logic and reasoning, to control this situation, he just doesn't understand how women work, right? But this woman is smart. She's like, it's confusing to me because I can totally see the logic of his stance. I respect this woman. Ma'am, despite what you've been through, I respect the fact that you are identifying that he's trying to use logic and reasoning to slow things down, to slow the natural flow of progression down. You've been together with him for 4 years. If he's not ready to marry you now for whatever reason, then it's time to move on. Yet if the roles were reversed, I would want to bring him on board with me to help him feel more secure while he worked hard in school. See, you would be there for him to help him go through school. If you were the breadwinner, if you were in his shoes and he was in yours, you would do for him what you wish he would do for you. And I think he knows that, but I think he still doesn't care. I think he fears being divorce raped. And that's coming from a really crappy place, dude. That's coming from a really crappy place. I don't want to be selfish. You're not being selfish at all. He's completely being selfish. You're completely right. He's completely wrong. But also don't want to let my life pass me by trying to earn someone's love commitment. Love to hear an outside perspective. Well, you heard mine. Give him an ultimatum. Say, look, it's time for the ultimatum. Look, we've been together for 4 years. And I'm in my childbearing years, right? I am 32 years old. My biological clock is ticking. If you're not ready to get married and have kids while we figure this out, and we're in an okay enough position right now, and it's only going to get better. If you're not ready to move this forward right now, I'm going to get with somebody that is ready. That's what you need to do, man. You need to call him out. Sorry, you've been together with him for 4 years, and the emotional attachment is going to suck, but you got to cut your losses before you get to the point of where you're now 35, 37, 38, and now he's finally ready to have kids, and now your fertility has gone down, and you might be able to have 1 or 2 kids, in your late 30s, early 40s, but especially once you hit your 40s, your fertility goes way down, right? It's not fair to you, man. So you got to give him the ultimatum, and if he's not ready to move forward, I would cut your losses and find someone who is ready. Let's read a few comments here before we get to the last posting. No Goose 6055. The number one factor of divorce is economic difficulties, and marriage doesn't solve anything and intensifies everything. So from a practical perspective, he is right, but that doesn't mean it's your fault. Life is cruel and unfair at times. This is an angry and bitter man saying this. Okay? So all you millennial men out there, this is your problem. You fear getting divorce rate. You see women rising up. You see the feminist movement coming in. You see men going through no-fault divorces and losing half their money, right? You see, women winning child custody cases most of the time, right? And then it makes you guys fear getting married. right? But you still want the company of a woman. You still want to live with a woman. You still want the sex from a woman, her company, her emotional support. You want all that, but you don't want the marriage commitment. You don't want the vow of marriage because you fear the legality of losing it all. And that's just a really crappy way to live life, in my opinion. If you're not willing to risk that, then you really don't love the person you're with. The original poster writes in the comment section, I appreciate this perspective and also seeing that, yes, life can be insanely unfair. Shoot, I could be the one with more money one day if life, God forbid, gave him some hard knocks. Yeah, what if he got injured and hurt and couldn't work? Now, he'd get on disability, but disability only pays you so much. What if she became the breadwinner? What if he needed to be reliant on her? This guy is not, looking at all the possibilities. He's being extremely selfish, and when you're extremely selfish, things always come back to bite you in the ass at some point. No Goose 6055 says, keep your head up and keep your energy focused on your education. Yeah, if that's the route you want to go, you don't necessarily need an education to get a good job nowadays. But if you're going in a specific career like nursing or to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, then go for it. And then the original poster says, best advice so far. Yeah, I really like how mature this woman is. Her posting was mature. Her comments are mature. I think I'm going to comment on this posting and have her watch this video. When I did my last stream here several days ago, I did a posting regarding a guy that was struggling with his purpose at age 20. And I made a comment and invited him over to the channel here. He actually came, saw the video, and commented. And if you're still watching, dude, yeah, I'll get back to you with more. I'm willing to help you free of charge. These people out here on Reddit, when I do these stories, I'm definitely willing to help these people to a certain point, free of charge when I can. But yeah, this woman, wow, she's very impressive. She thinks a lot like Dawn. She's very reasonable, very civil. Read a couple more here. Rogue 5454, it's a female. He's using excuses at this point, Hunt. I agree. These are full of excuses. He's saying this now after what you went through on purpose. It's time to pack it in and find a loving partner. Big round of applause. Absolutely. I could not have said it better myself. Sammy says, sounds like a jerk pushing away a good woman. Yeah, no disrespect. I know some of you are millennials out here. It's not all millennials, but this is a millennial man that has no freaking clue. Right? Nasty Jester, she shouldn't walk. She should run, says Nasty Jester. I agree, dude. I agree. Absolutely. This guy is going to do nothing but disappoint her. Leave. This is toxic. I don't know if I'd say it's toxic, but it's just very selfish. I don't think this guy's being toxic. I think, he's enjoying the sex and her company and the emotional support. I think he's stringing her along. Stringing someone along is not toxic. It's just taking advantage of someone's kindness and wasting their time. A toxic relationship would be more like a mentally abusive, physically abusive, alcoholic, drug usage, etc. This is more like a guy is just trying to keep her around as long as possible to satisfy his sexual and emotional needs without having to commit to marriage and the legality aspect of it, like she said, he mentioned at the beginning of this posting. Let me read three more here, and then we're going to go to the last posting. Blanca69, a female, says, original poster, I hate to tell you this, but he's not going to marry you. If I had to guess, I would agree. He is wasting your time. Been saying that all along. I agree. A person who truly loves you will accept you just as you are and not use excuses. Please leave him. You are never going to be good enough for him or meet his requirements. Move on and finish your education and find a partner who will truly love and cherish you and not give you empty promises. What I would do if I was this woman, her parents are helping her out a little bit financially. I'm sure her parents would let her move back in while she goes to college, right? And don't be afraid to move back in with your parents and leave this guy, right? Go and finish your college, start dating somebody else. Look, there are so many men out there that would treat you so much better and are probably better looking than him too. But I understand after 4 years, it's hard to let go of that emotional attachment. But yeah, so far, everyone, for the most part, everyone here in the comments section, I agree with. And her username is Do Akan This Ita 2634, original poster. Gets back and states, thank you for your perspective here and strongly considering me in this. It helps me see that my partner and I might just clash in a way that didn't matter as much even 2 years ago. At some point, we have to decide what we want, right? You got to decide sooner than later. If I was you, I would give him one ultimatum. If he doesn't marry you, then move on. But honestly, if he's been this adamant about the financial thing, if you're dating a guy with the attitude that he cares more about the money than loving you, if he fears more about getting divorce raped than trusting someone that he's been with for 4 years, that's not going to happen. Now, it could still happen, but why, go into it thinking like that, right? This guy has a shitty attitude, and you got to run from that. It's time to cut your losses. A man who wants to marry you will make it happen. I'm sorry. And then she says, the original poster says, thank you. This is something I keep thinking, and I feel I'm getting too old to wait around and see. Yeah, your biological clock is ticking. Big round of applause. Your biological clock is ticking. You said it in different words. It's a good one. That's a good one. Let me read the chat here real quick before we get to the next message or next posting. Let's see. Sammy says she should absolutely run, Nasty Jester. Popeye, welcome to the show. Great to see you here. Nasty Jester, I stopped by your other live, but it was members-only chat. I can't afford YouTube memberships. What do you offer for $1.99 and $4.99? For $2.99, you can chat in my members-only live chats for publicly viewable streams, such as the Walking with Purpose streams I do. And then if you want to be able to participate in the members-only live streams with my girlfriend Dawn and I, those are $4.99 per month, which will also include the members-only chats when I walk on the publicly viewable streams that you need to have a membership to chat in. So if you can't afford it, man, I understand. Maybe somebody will gift you. Sometimes people will gift memberships. If you're around when memberships are gifted, maybe you'll get one. But at some point, I'll do some free stuff as well over there. So I understand, Don. My apologies for that, man. I just, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, over here for the time being, I'm doing these subscriber only chats, and they're free as long as you subscribe. So there you go. All right, let's get to the final posting here. This is the one I've been waiting for. And this is a posting unlike anything I've ever seen. And I really feel for this woman. This is from the subreddit r/Ask Women Over 30. And the original poster's title is as follows. I'm 35 and all my girlfriends are diving into motherhood while I had an abortion. One more time, I'm 35 and all my girlfriends are diving into motherhood while I had an abortion. Wow. Now, I don't know when she had this abortion. I don't think she mentioned it down here. Maybe she was younger, but let's read this. I'm 35 and all my girlfriends are diving into motherhood. Meanwhile, I've been married for 3 years. So the abortion happened before. and the baby question is buzzing in my brain. I had to face an abortion earlier because it just wasn't the right time financially and emotionally. Well, ma'am, I know how traumatic that is. I'm sorry that you had to choose to face an abortion. Birth control. There's semi-permanent birth control today, such as the IUD and the Depo-Provera shot. And if you were not on birth control and you were having unprotected sex, I mean, what else do you think would happen? I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm sorry you had to go through an abortion. And yes, that is very traumatic. Even if you weren't ready for the child and you got pregnant on accident, any abortion is going to affect a woman. It wasn't the right time financially and emotionally. Here's the tug of war in my head. Why I'm considering a baby next year. My husband's got this huge pro-life extended family, and I feel like I'm denying him the chance to expand the clan. So this is more so her struggling with this. Okay? He's amazing with my nieces and nephews, and I love seeing them in action. The idea of hanging out with a teenager when I'm old sounds pretty cool. I want to keep up with my peers and maintain those friendships and be relatable. See, you're doing this for all the wrong reasons, right? If you want to have a baby, ma'am, you want to have a baby, you should want to have a baby because you deep within your heart and soul want a kid. Now, your husband should want it too, but you should also want it at an individual level, right? If you want it just to relate to your friends or to make your husband's pro-life extended family happy, you're doing this for the wrong reasons, right? Fear of hitting 40 and regretting being alone with no one to carry on the family name. You're doing this for all the wrong reasons, man. And maybe when you had the abortion, that traumatized you a little bit. I'm sorry you went through that, but you're all over the place here. And the reason that you want this kid should be because you want kids, because you in your heart and soul want kids, and so does your husband. It shouldn't be to prove anything to anyone else. Yes, it will carry on the family name, but it shouldn't be just for that reason. Why I'm hesitating. I loathe household chores and caregiving. So you want to have a kid, but you don't want to assume or accept the responsibilities that come along with that. So you want to give birth to a child and, the fairy godmother comes and cleans your house and takes care of your kid while you sit around and watch TV while your husband goes to work or something like that, right? I mean, having a child is the ultimate responsibility when it comes to household chores and caregiving. It's constant caregiving. I'm not mentally tough dealing with health anxiety, and worry pregnancy will make it worse. Well, you could have like postpartum depression, or, your anxiety might get worse. You might have panic attacks. I mean, you should talk with your doctor and ask your doctor if you're healthy enough to have a baby and if you're fit enough to be a mother. It sounds like you're questioning if you're fit enough to be a mother or not. Your doctor can get you on anxiety medication. This can all be under control. Have you gone to your doctors and, been treated for all this? Because this is treatable. Again, my girlfriend Dawn, she's going through all this later on in life. You're, in your 30s. My girlfriend Dawn is 48 and she's getting treatment for all this. You can get the same treatment too. You don't have to suffer from all this. Acne's been a battle. Acne's not the end of the world. A lot of people have it, right? Yes, when you're younger, you get teased for it. When you get older, people accept it, right? And I finally got it under control using retinoids. Pregnancy might throw me back to square one, and bad skin makes me depressed. Well, that's your problem, ma'am. Obviously, you want to do what you can to keep your skin healthy and free of pimples and oil and all that. But if it happens, you know what? Just deal with it and try to fix it, or go to the doc, go to the dermatologist, and you can get it under control there. These are all excuses to me. They're excuses, right? You're super, super scared. It's like you say you want a kid on one hand, but you're finding and making every excuse to not have it. Let's see. Nasty Jester says, so she used abortion as a form of birth control. Terrible. Yeah, that is terrible. It is. It is. It is. But I mean, look, I'm not frowning on anyone that's had an abortion or will have an abortion. You know, it's the right of the woman, and it should be the right of the man too, but it's typically more the right of the woman to choose. But yeah, I mean, you got to, in this day and age, in this modern world, with so many semi-permanent birth control options like the IUD and the Depo-Provera shot, right? Now, she might have been on birth control and maybe forgot her pills. But again, there's more semi-permanent birth control you can use. And she chose to not use it, right? Nasty Jester, didn't she realize what could happen before having sex? That's my question too, bro. That's my question too. As a man also, you got to ask your woman, is she on birth control? You know, and you got to have her show it to you. And if she's on the IUD or something else, she's got to show you that, you know, that it's there, right? Or if she has the IUD, you can even, you know, you can even feel it going way up in there. But yeah. Sabrina Garza, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Good morning, Eli. Nice to see you live in the morning. Yeah, hey, great to see you here, Sammy. There's a lot of messed up people in this world, says Sammy. And Sammy says, hi, Sabrina Garza. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. More of why she's hesitating. Planning to hire help for chores and send the baby to daycare so I can still hustle in my career. Can't picture myself as a stay-at-home mom. This woman, her attitude is shitty. It sucks. Like, you want to have a kid, yet you don't want any of the responsibilities that come around with having a kid. Your problem, ma'am, is what I've said about many millennial women and many modern day women. You're more career focused than family focused. You got to choose. I'm not saying you can't have a career, but if you're going to have a kid, you're going to have to focus more of your energy on that kid than your career, or do a better job of balancing it out. You're not willing to do that. Listen to this. This is what she says. Planning to hire help for chores. So you're going to go to work and probably spend, I'd say, 80+% of your income for somebody to take care of your kid while you're at work. It's very expensive to hire someone to do that while you're working for 8 hours a day at least. And then another 2 hours probably for commuting if you're in a traffic area, right? Why even work when you're going to be paying most of the money you're making to the caregiver? This is ridiculous here. Ridiculous. If I was this dude, I would talk with her about this, and if she doesn't change her mind, like, I would divorce her. Because he wanted kids, and that's what she probably led him to believe initially, right? So in this case, this is the woman's fault. Okay. Can't picture myself as a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, then don't be a mom. Even in this modern world where women are liberated and are working, kids are a lot of responsibility. And if you can't choose your kid over your job, then you're not fit to be a mother. In my opinion. I'm not saying you can't work, but maybe you scale back on your work a little bit. You got to balance your work personal life out better. I'm into fitness, and the thought of not bouncing back into shape freaks me out. So now you're worried about gaining pregnancy weight. I've talked to and seen postings regarding many women that fear this. They fear gaining weight and not bouncing back to their shape before they had a kid. Well, as long as you eat healthy while you're pregnant, you should pretty much go back to your same weight or maybe a few pounds heavier, after you have your kid, after you deliver your kid, your baby. And then you can walk with your baby, take the stroller and go on a 3-4 mile walk every day. I see a lot of women that have had kids in the area where I live here in Redwood City, California, the San Francisco Bay Area. where women are, the husband's working, they're stay-at-home moms, and the moms are walking the babies in the stroller around the neighborhood 3 to 4 miles a day, and they're getting fit. You can see that little extra on them. And then I see the same women walking all the time, and I've seen them lose the weight. It sounds like this woman it sounds like she's really fucking spoiled and entitled. That's what it sounds like, in my opinion. Right? Sabrina Garza says, "Hi, Sammy." Husband is an athlete, so the pressure's real. If your husband loves you, and if you fear he's going to leave you if you gain a little weight after having a kid because he's an athlete in great shape, then that's not the right man to be with, man. But your husband also needs to do a good job of saying, babe, if we're going to have a family, look, we got to focus more on raising the kid. And I make more money, so how about I work and you either work part-time or, don't work for the time being, or do something from home where you can take care of the kid. And I also understand you're going to probably gain a little weight, and that's not going to change how I feel about you. So is the husband here doing a good enough job, using positive reinforcement and reassuring his wife that everything's going to be okay? Maybe he's not doing his part too. A lot of millennial men don't understand that you got to reassure your woman in these situations. Hubby's work schedule is insane, and I doubt parenting will be a 50-50 deal. My dad was the breadwinner. My mom raised us. So 75% of the time, it was my mom taking care of us. The other 25% was my dad because he was working to provide. Look at how big of a deal. She's finding every excuse to not have a kid. She wants a kid, but she doesn't want any of the responsibilities that come with having a kid. Ma'am, you are not fit to be a mother, in my opinion. Might need to hire extra hands to survive. I don't know if our relationship is strong enough to survive bringing up a baby. No, ma'am, you're not strong enough. You're lazy and entitled, and you want to pop out a kid and just have it miraculously raise itself. Wow. I've seen other women struggle with this, but none worse than this. You folks tell me in the chat, is this the absolute worst woman you've seen regarding wanting to have a kid, but making every excuse possible to not have that kid, and making so many just, again, lame-ass excuses? And she's coming off very entitled, very spoiled. It's like, honestly, if I was with this, there's no way I would ever date a woman like this, because this is a character flaw in her, right? And this character flaw was probably there during the first date this guy met her. But he probably stuck around with her because she's probably hot and she's probably good in the sack. But just because someone's hot and good in the sack doesn't mean they're the right person for you to have a family with or a future with, right? I'm stuck in this constant loop of thoughts. It is killing me. Any advice would be a lifesaver right now. Put your guard down and talk with your husband and become more family focused and career focused. I'm not saying give up your career, but you got to get your priorities straight. There's a better way to put it. Your priorities are more about work than having a kid. You need to prioritize having a kid over your career. Doesn't mean you give up your career completely. You may have to put it on hold for a little bit and let your husband, who's probably making a lot more money and working a lot to make a lot more money, handle that. That's what it takes. And if you don't understand that, then it's never going to work out for you. Sorry. That's just the way it goes. Let's read a few comments here, and then we're going to wrap this up. There was one long comment. I'm going to read the original poster's response to that, and then I'm going to read one other comment after that, and then the original poster's response, and then I'm going to go off the air. So get your final questions, comments, concerns in the chat here, folks. Let's check out the chat here real quick before we continue. Okay, we're good. 9 people in the box. Thank you so much for being here. Lumiere 108 says, so far, all I see from what you wrote are the only reasons you think about having kids are to have someone to hang out with and fear of reaching an age with no one to carry your family name. There's more, but that's a good way to put it, good way to start putting it. Those are not enough reasons to reproduce. I agree. Some people have kids for all the wrong reasons and then regret it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. On the other hand, you came up with serious reasons why not to have one, which is your mental health, super important. And in general, you cannot imagine motherhood without tons of extra help, which is fine. I don't think that's fine. I think if you want to have a kid, you have to assume and understand it's the biggest responsibility you're going to have. And if you're not willing to make sacrifices such as partially or completely with your career for a while, then it's not going to work. So to me, it seems like you're contemplating having kids because your husband would like to have one to carry the family name, but that's not how it works. I agree. Both of you have to want a baby. Otherwise, it won't work. It will be a chore, regret, massive damage to the marriage, let alone to your mental health. Could have said it better myself. I have nothing more to add to that. There is nothing wrong with not having kids, since nobody can guarantee what he or she will turn out like, and teenagers rarely like hanging out with their parents anyway. Do things just because other people want you to or expect you to do so. It is a huge commitment, and having kids is not for everyone. I agree. I think everyone, should consider having kids. But if it ends up, not being for you, or you don't find the right person in time, then it's okay. I found the right person, but she's already had her kids and she can't have any more kids, and she's 48. But I'm happy with her and I love her, right? I have no life-saving advice, but based on what you wrote, I wouldn't have a baby in your position. I agree. She's not fit to be a mother. She's not in the right mindset either. Okay. Tall temporary 9100. Maybe she's a tall chick. Original poster response. I had tears reading your response. I don't know why, but thank you for your well thought out response. Well, maybe she knocked some sense into you, right? Was that a woman? Yes, it was. Maybe you're realizing how selfish and entitled and immature you're coming off, and you're having a wake-up call. Then the same person that wrote the first comment that the original poster just responded to responds and says, oh my God, I hope I didn't offend you. I didn't mean to. No, you hit her exactly the way you had to hit her. Sometimes I'm a bit blunt. Yeah, me too. You need to be. That's the only way she's going to learn, or anyone will learn, is by being blunt and upfront. And there is not much I can do about it. I mean, I'm always trying my best to be diplomatic, but I fail. Not entirely sure why. Well, you're not failing. It's just people don't like hearing the truth, but they need to hear it. People that are set in their ways and are struggling don't like hearing the truth from people that know exactly what they're talking about. Anyways, if I said anything hurtful / offensive, then I sincerely apologize. No, nothing you said was offensive. It was spot on. Tall Temporary 9100 original poster says, oh no, not at all. I was just emotional reading your response because it was so clear and well thought out. I could understand where you were coming from and agree with so many points you made. I guess I'm also upset about the fact that I don't feel maternal, if that makes sense. Well, if you don't feel maternal, then you know what? There's your answer, right? I mean, why in the world? Why in the world would you want to have a kid if you don't feel maternal? You want to do that just to make your husband happy? If it doesn't make you happy, you got to tell him, I don't want a kid. And if that means we end up in divorce, I love you, but I just don't want a kid. But here's the thing. If this dude wanted kids, he should have talked about this within the first 3 to 6 months of dating her. If he's just finding out this now after 3 years of marriage, then that's his fault. Because women know. Women know if they want kids or not right when they get with someone. And if you as a man don't talk about that. You don't have to talk about that right away. I mean, you can ask somebody, even if you're talking with somebody online, are you open to having children? Nothing wrong with that. But if you don't at least talk about it within the first 3 to 6 months of dating and find out, then it's your fault. All right. That's going to wrap it up. We are at 1 hour and 55 minutes. Wow, just under 2 hours. Wonderful. Let's go back to full screen. All right. I really enjoyed the show tonight. It is 4:58 a.m., almost 5 a.m. Pacific time. 7:58 a.m., almost 8 a.m. Eastern time. Thank you to everyone for being here on the main channel, Coach Eli, Elias, Melas. If you haven't already done so, please go below in the description and subscribe to Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, where I'm doing the Walking with Purpose streams almost daily there, typically in the afternoon Pacific time and early evening Eastern time. And also doing some members-only live chats over there with my girlfriend, Dawn, which we will more than likely do our next members-only live stream this Saturday. So make sure you have your $4.99 membership over there on Coach Eli 2 if you want to be a part of that. And more content, more live streams will be coming to this channel soon. I'm going to continue to stream the in-studio streams here for at least another 2.5 weeks. And then these will go back to Coach Eli 2 as well. And then I'll start to focus more on pre-recorded content and YouTube shorts on here. With that being said, I wish you all a great day. Thank you again for being here. Please consider supporting the channel in any way you can. Super chat, super sticker on the pre-recorded videos or live stream replays. You can hit the super thanks, or you can send a donation via Cash App or PayPal. Don and I would greatly appreciate your support in any way. And if you can't afford to donate or just don't want to, showing up and chatting and watching our shows, we really appreciate that as well. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.